Over the last few years, RGB tube lights have become increasingly popular. It seems like pretty much any company with even a passing interest in the film and video world have started to produce them. But whereas most other companies have produced them in two different sizes, a 60cm and a 120cm version, SIRUI, if that's how you say the name, have decided to produce them both in the one unit. What I mean by that is that this thing is telescopic and can get bigger. It's a bit like one of those laser swords in that popular science fiction movie. What's it called? You know the one. Yeah, Star Crash, that's it. I received the light in this plain white box. I can only assume this is the packaging that Sample was sent out in, because on the website the packaging clearly has artwork on it. Inside you'll find this nice carry bag with the SIRUI name on the side. Looks like the type of bag snooker players carry their cues in. Inside is everything you'd expect to find. You get the T120 light unit, you get the power brick for charging, you can still use the light as it's charging, you get a plug for whatever part of the world that you're in, you get these clips, more on them later, and you get a warranty service card and a QR code for downloading the instruction book. In the Pro version you also get a mini tripod, basically a foot you can use to stand the light up. I'd definitely get that version. In fact, I think the mini tripod should be included in the standard version. I don't really see what's pro about it. There's this kind of padded section in the middle of the bag to stop the power brick from bashing into and damaging the light. I guess the bag will stop the light from getting scratches and small dings, but I'd have liked it to have a bit of a rigid feel to it, like a hard case or a protective shell, so you'll still need to be careful when you're transporting this thing. It has a selectable colour temperature from 2500 Kelvin to 8000 Kelvin, has a full 360 degree colour mode, an RGB mode where you can dial in the exact RGB code of the colour that you want. It has a DMX control so you can link 15 units together and have them all work as one. It has a TLCI rating of 97. A bit of googling told me that anything above 80 is considered good. The light also has a CRI rating of 97. Anything above 95 is considered excellent. And it has an output of 700 lux at a 1 meter distance. So as you can see, I'm getting a reasonable exposure here. I'm using false color and an ISO of 400. And this light is only at 9%. If I turn the light off, you can see what the room looks like with just that lamp on in the background there and the ceiling light, which is a very, very dim LED light, and then light on. This is definitely usable for exposure. And then from 9% we can go up and we can get right up to 100%, where it's actually a little bit uncomfortable to sit here with this blinding me in my eyes. But you can see that from whatever this distance is, it's just out of arm's reach, just can't quite grab it. And I've got long arms, so that's probably just over a meter. So that's roughly what 700 LUTS look like from this sort of range, meter and a bit, maybe. Operating is simple and easy. On the back side of the light, you'll find two 3.5mm DMX ports, a DC power jack to connect and charge the internal battery. There's an on-off switch and 4 control buttons, a mode button, a function button, and up and down buttons. The mode button cycles through the 5 different modes the light has. The function button cycles through the 3 different functions each mode has. And the up and down buttons let you manipulate the function, i.e. dialing in the colour temperature or the brightness of the light. But to be honest, I wouldn't bother with that because, like most modern things, there's an app available for controlling this light, and I'd have to say it's pretty good. It's not going to win any design awards for prettiness, but it's fast and responsive and makes using the light so much easier. To connect, you simply open the app and hold the mode button on the back of the light for a few seconds. The light will then show up on the app and you can select it and start using it. Then you can simply use the slider to dial in things like colour temperature and brightness, or use the colour wheel for selecting any colour you want. It's claimed to work within a 15 meter range, and I can confirm that it does indeed. It has a number of built-in FX, TV, fire, fireworks, police car, candle, and more. All these functions and effects are pretty standard these days on RGB lights. That's not to say that this light isn't good, it's just to say that we've come such a long way these days that we kind of expect them, and if they weren't included you'd have to mark this light down. What's more interesting to me is how this light can be used in everyday productions. The most obvious thing for me would be to use this light for room tone. Select the right colour temperature to match any practical light or the window light coming into the room, and then bounce the light off the ceiling. But really it could be used for anything. You could bounce this light off some styrofoam board and use it as a key light or a fill light, or you could use it straight up as a backlight or an edge light. And because this light has such a small footprint, you'd be able to get it into situations and spaces where you wouldn't be able to get a normal light stand. And that's probably where the telescopic function of this light would come in most handy. You'd be able to transport one unit instead of two, and decide what size you need when you actually get to the location or the set, rather than having to decide in advance or bring 2 units with you to every location. Unfortunately, with this telescopic system, there isn't a way to do it in smaller increments. You either have the full thing extended and the light is on across the whole length of the light, or you have it folded up or shunted down, squashed down, what's the right word here? Untelescopic. And then you have the smaller light. Unfortunately, the light doesn't come on until it's fully extended, so it would have been cool if you could do it in tiny increments, and then you'd be able to get a light that fitted the exact space that you needed it to. What I don't like, not enough mounting points. You only get this 1/4 inch thread on each end of the tube. I'd have liked there to have been at least one more mounting point along the back of the tube. You get these clips that you can clip around the light to add a mounting point, but I've got 2 problems with this. One, it's something else for me to lose, and I like to keep things as simple as possible. 2, if you want to use this light in a shot as a practical, then you can see the clips. Another potential problem is the fact that at lower light levels you get these hotspots where you can start to see the LEDs through the diffusion material. It gives this kind of tiger skin type pattern. This isn't a problem if you're using this light out of frame, but again, if you want to use this as a practical in the shot, this might not be an effect you're looking for. I will say that this is actually only something that I can see with my naked eye, and that when you're using a video camera to look at it or recording the footage, that you can't actually see this effect without really stopping down the lens. So maybe this isn't as much of a problem as I originally thought that it might be. What I can see and what you can see are actually quite different in this situation. And on a very similar note, at lower light levels you can see the link between the 2 tubes. When it's extended, there appears to be a small gap visible between the 2 sections of the light, and when it's at its smallest size, you can see the inner tube through the outer tube. Again, this is something that doesn't really happen when you're actually shooting, it's only something that you can see with the naked eye. The fact that even the light is on a 1 or 2% brightness is still overexposed for what the camera can see. Or really, there isn't just enough dynamic range in the camera to be able to pick up on this. You can only really see it when you absolutely stop down the lens and turn down the ISO. So again, it's not really a problem, but maybe there could be something there and it's worth knowing about. And even with the naked eye, you cannot see these problems when the power is over 30% or so it's probably not worth worrying about. And I think that's my conclusion for this light. If you want to use it as a practical in the background, say of a music video or wherever you can see it in shot, then it's a pretty good light and usable, with the small caveat that you can see the clips if you're going to use the clips for mounting it. Other than that, if you're going to use it out of frame in any way, then it's a great light. And the fact that it has the telescopic feature is a big advantage over other lights of a similar price point. SIRUI did send me the light, but they had no say in making this video, and if you want to watch another video of mine, I'd be more than grateful. Thanks very much, see you around, take care, adios amigos.